Okay, welcome to video number 2. So in this case, I've just created my page layout and I'm going to add now my following details. So first of all, ask me to add folding guidelines to the middle of the pages. Of course, I'm not going to go straight on add my guidelines. So the first of all I'm going to do, this is the first thing I'll do when I'm opening my InDesign document. I'm going to my layer, create a different layers. So in here, for example, I'm going to call it background and I'll double click on it just to change the name of it. So in this case, background, and I'm gonna go and save it, go into the second layer, make sure those are images, here we go, and the third one, make sure those are text. And usually they are coming with different colors. Of course, we can change the colors as much as we want, and we can use this drop down menu to pick any of those colors if you wish to. Now I'm gonna keep it RGB in this case, so it's quite easy for me to understand. Now, as long as it tells you here, add a background or add the guidelines and so on, I'll make sure that I'm going to the background itself, double click and just adding here /guidelines. Now guys, this is very important when it comes to the background and guidelines. You need to make sure both of them are based within one layer. So I'm following these rules again. So it asks me to add the guidelines toward the middle of the pages. Now it could ask me to the side of the pages or add a guideline in general. So in here, I'm not gonna stick to this. I'm gonna go extra at this point. So I'm gonna use a line over here. So this is a line tool. I'm just gonna click and drag and keep my hand in the shift, because if I move my hand on the shift, this is gonna be a free hand movement. But if I put in shift, it's gonna give me a specific angles. So in this case, I'm just gonna keep it on shift, release my hand off the mouse first, and then release my hand off the keyboard. Now in here, once I get to this point here, it tells me here how many points you want here. So this is the thickness of the line itself. So I can give it around 4 or 5 points at this case, because this is going to be quite useful for me when I cut out my documents. So this is great. I can actually use this again by clicking on Control Copy, Control Paste, and I'm having another one over here. And simply I can actually drag this around to 90 degrees as you see in front of you and just release my hands off the shift, making sure this is right in the middle. And simply what I can do, I can go over this just to make sure that they are not separated. I can highlight all of them, right click, and then select group. So you're gonna find group all the way down here. Or you can use your keyboard, Control G, it makes them as a group. So now when I moved the object, it will be a one object. Now I'm doing small crosses here. Again, I'm not filling the whole page, so it doesn't look professional. So in this case, I'm having 4 of them. So I'll make sure these are placed just right in the top of the margin. Now please don't worry if those are again outside in the gray part, it's fine, because whatever is printed is the inside the white part, which is again my workspace. So again, I can copy this and paste it, or simple way I can use Alt on my keyboard and just drag it down, and simply you see how that is free movement. But if I'm using Shift at this case, this is gonna be straightforward. So I'm using Alt and Shift at the same time. So I'm clicking on those two at the same time. Great, so I can use now my arrows a little bit down to get it right in the corner. So I'm having now 1, 2, great. So those are the guidelines. And make sure when you do the guidelines, you do it once on the master. So for my case here, I did not do it in the master, I'm doing it in page number 2 and 3. So in this case, in here is not gonna show. So at this case, I've done a mistake here, so I might select both of them. So I select one, I will keep my hand on the shift and select the second. So I'm having both of them are selected at the moment. I can use right click and group them, or Control G straight on to group them. And in this case, I'm gonna click on Control X for cut. Now I can go to my master page simply, or double click on the Word master page itself and just click Control V for pasting, and in this case, they are placed right in the middle. So look how simple is this. I can use now my Alt or alternative key, just drag it all the way to the side. So now I'm having them right in the side. So I'm having now 2 of these sets. Again, I'll push this a little bit up so it match, and I can simply going to the other part here, which is my other page here, and then just clicking on Alt, drag all the way around. Again, I can get it right in the corner as you see in front of you. Now I've created the guidelines. Simply, if I go to any of my pages, I can see my guidelines there. And those guidelines, again, whatever's outside gonna be cut it, whatever the inside will be remaining the same. Now I'm just gonna move on to the next step. Create a texture background or a gray textured background. Here's supposed to be a gray, and I'm just gonna add it here, and you will find it in your file that being added gray textured background. So when I go to all pages in this case, if I'm saying all pages, at this case, I'm going to the master page straight on. If it tells you on certain pages like page number 1 or page number 3, at this case, I'm just gonna add it to a specific page as mentioned within my practical exam. So in here it says all pages, so it clearly means that's I'm gonna add this in the master page. So at this point here, I'm going to my master page, and I'm going to my file, and you will find the file here with all the different images that have been added to it, so you can go through them. Or actually I'm having here BG stand for a background, so I can just drag and add to my InDesign. But remember, when I drag and to my InDesign, I still did not place my image, so I need to make sure the image is over there. So I'm gonna select my corner, so I'm gonna go at the upper part, select all of it. Here we go, until I reach the end of the page here. And of course, the page or the image is overlaying or overlapping my crosses here, because when we go to the layers here, you're gonna find again my background is falling right in the top. So I'm just gonna drag it down. So now the crosses are clearly for me visible. Great. Now regards those three groups, which are again, this is visibility, so I can see which one are hidden and which one are showing. If I need to make sure those are locked, I can simply click and drag down, so all of them will be locked. So no matter what I'm doing with those, they're not gonna move. Great. So now I can go to my page simply, and I need to make sure this is right in the middle. So I'll double click. And now if I double click and get brown frame, that means I'm going with the image itself. So I'm squeezing the image, which I don't like to do this. So I'll click again until I get the blue frame, and I'll just push the blue frame until the mid of the cross. Simply what I can do, I can copy this, or I can use Alt to drag my image across the other side of my newsletter. Good. So now I'm having the background as being told, because this is newsletter, so I'm giving this texture to it as it looks gray. Great. So once I'm done with this, I'm gonna go to the next step. Make sure this is in the background within your master page. So I'm still in my master page. Great. Now it tells me page 1, so I'm gonna stop at this case, and in the third video I'm going to cover page 1 and page 2 in the following video. Great, so I will see you in a bit. Once I'm done with those, I'm going to save it, of course, and then I will see you in the next video.